So this is an Audi A4 2012 model, V8 2.0 liter turbo. And today we are going to be replacing the fuel pump. So this is an aftermarket from Amazon. So if you're going to buy it from auto parts store or dealership, you're looking anywhere from $300 to $600 for a new fuel pump. And one garage quoted me $1,000 to replace the fuel pump. This is the tool that we're going to use to get the ring off, because I think that's supposed to be the most difficult part. I'm going to use a trim tool to take out the panel that covers the fuse box, but realistically in a pinch you can use your key if you have to, or a screwdriver. You just don't want to damage it. You just get in there, gently pry it off. It's held in 1, 2, 3 prongs. You set that aside so we don't damage it. Your fuel pump relay is into the middle fuse row here. They call it the brown box. To me it looks more yellow. And it's going to be the third one down. So 1 empty, 2, 3. So it's at 25 amp. That's the one that we're going to pull. But what we want to do is we want to have the car running. If it's running, if your fuel pump's completely dead, then it's not going to start. Just pull it so there's no power going to it. Okay, so I'm going to pull this and let it run out of fuel. So this fuel pump, A1 Premium, I'm not sure the company, was about $80 with tax. Now I know there's a risk. You know, you always want to, if you can afford to, use premium Bosch or OEM parts. However, like most people in this economy, I'm on a budget. So I need to save money where I can, because these Audis, whereas they are great cars, once they get up there in age, they tend to need a lot of love. So now we're going to remove the back seat. So supposedly to remove the back seat, it's just a couple of good yanks. We'll see. There we go. And around this side, a couple good yanks. To remove these little things here, gotta get you a little closer here. You can see the little grooves in there. You want to just follow those grooves. It can be a little hard with one hand, so sulfur if you're going to put a child safety seat in here. All right, and there we go. And she slides right out once those are out. And not too bad, but I'm going to clean it up, because last thing we want is any of this junk falling into the gas tank. Unfortunately, I just filled this up when the problem started, so she's going to be right up to the top, which is not ideal, but we're going to put rags in here to absorb whatever leaks. And we're going to remove these 3 Phillips head screws that are the cover to the fuel pump. Let's pick the right head here. That looks like it'll work. That one looks good. We're going to keep everything away from the opening. Easy. Super easy. Just a little bit still. Well, that looks pretty dirty. Fairly dirty. Getting this ring off, supposedly the more difficult part. If it's stuck, I'm going to clean it up, and I'm going to try that tool that I have. So on our connectors, I pulled this part up. It was just set there, so it's not held in by anything. On this part right here, this electrical connector, you just push that part in with your thumb. That pulls right off. And then on this one, it looks like there's one of those Audi tabs that you lift up on, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, see, that just popped right up. I'll do it again so you can see. Popped right up. Now she should wiggle off. Let's see. I mean, I say that, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't ever want to force it because I don't want to break anything. Okay, maybe that's it. Oh, okay. Make sure it clicks. When it clicks, you're good to go. Okay, so last one now is the fuel line right here. I'm going to put this towel down in case any fuel decides to get out, and try to get it down into here because I don't want gas going into the cavity. See, there's a cavity under this part that the seat sits on and the actual underbody. So tuck that in there pretty good. And now, from what I understand, push down on this. And there's a release once you push down. So you're gonna have to stop for a second, put the camera back on tripod. All right, so I don't know if you can see, but little button is right there, pushes in. So push down, push in, pull up technically. Push down, push in, pull up, and here comes the gas. Not too bad. Oh, that was barely nothing. So I think we'll really have to worry more about the gas when it comes to taking this ring off and actually pulling the fuel pump out. So now it's just going to be, yeah, there's mosquitoes here. I'm getting bit. It's just going to be keeping this stuff out of the way while I work this ring off. So there wasn't really too much gas in there. That's a good thing. This is the tool, extra long valve seal ring pliers. Okay, so extra long valve seal ring pliers. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to assemble it. Let's see, there's the best devised. They have one of these they make that's got 3 arms on it. Probably a better choice. Okay, so what I found with this tool, it does work. It's not the greatest. You got the drive in there. I put a breaker bar on it. I'm not gonna lie, I did just get it to break free. Didn't take that long. But what I have to do, because this wing nut will hurt your hand, put the rag on it, brace the cross member and your extension. Push down with this hand, and then give it pressure with the other hand. See, she's going. Ain't easy, but she's going. Okay, keep an eye on not screwing up any wiring. There we go. Okay, so you get the idea there. She's still not loose enough to do it by hand, so we're gonna keep working it. I think if you got one that had the Allen heads rather than these wing nuts, probably wouldn't hurt your hand as much. I also I have a bucket on the outside, so I'm going to put the old fuel pump into that bucket rather than trying to drain it out and get gas everywhere. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to grab that bucket real quick. All right, so I've done 2 things. I've grabbed another rag. I have grabbed my Thermacell mosquito repeller, which actually does work, and we're going to turn that on right now. Let's give it a few clicks. 1, 2, 3. It should be on. We'll check again in a minute. So that's going to keep the mosquitoes away, I hope, while we're working. So I told you I had the brilliant idea of bringing out the mosquito repeller. It's got a 15-foot zone. I would say keep it at the outer range of that 15-foot because it's got a fuel cell, and we are working with gas and gas fumes. So yeah, or probably don't use one at all. I'm just keeping it far away. All right, so quick update. Because I just filled up my tank with gas, it was way too full. And whenever I tried to take the O-ring off, it was just flooding the back with gas. So I ran out of rags and I said, you know what, I'm gonna go to Harbor Freight. I bought this little $8 siphon pump. And this is my second 5-gallon tub that I'm working on. But if y'all come across this and you gotta siphon some gas out beforehand, it seems to work pretty well. I think I've siphoned out a decent amount of gas. I've got this nut to the point where I can loosen it by hand, and then we'll get back to replacing the fuel pump. There it is. All right, so here comes the moment of truth. Get this O-ring off. We need to see exactly where everything's placed on the existing fuel pump so we can duplicate that when we put it back. So first thing we're going to do is soak up this gas. She is snug for sure. And again, you don't want to force it, so you just got to find a sweet way that it comes out. And that's more gas running where we don't want it to run. Par for the course today. So if you can see those green wires right there, so those are connected down into the tank. So one, we don't want to lose those wires when I disconnect it. Two, yeah, I got to figure out how the disconnect is on it. So be right. Okay, so this green wire that was connected in there, you see it's just a basic tab right there. And I used a flathead and gently removed it because I didn't want to obviously break it because it's going to be back in the tank. So now this wire, I don't want it to fall into the tank and recess. So I am temporarily taping it just a little bit to the body wall here so it doesn't fall into the tank while I'm working. I don't want any of that goo to get on there permanently, but temporarily. All right, now we're gonna go back and definitely get enough gas out of there. She's low now. And let's gently keep working this out. And it does have a ton of gas in it, so. Okay, so what I found was if you lift up on this part, it goes up and down on these little bars here. That gives you the ability to angle it to get the float out. And then she's connected down here as well. So those two spots, and I don't want to lose them. So I'm going to go grab the new fuel pump so I can directly remove it from that one and connect to the new one. Hose down here at the bottom. And it looks like there's a tab, I believe should be a push down and work out. I will say the downside to that fuel pump, and I don't know if any of them do, but does not have instructions. So we're kind of going it blind. But there's, I don't know if you can see right here, this hose comes up out of the tank along with that wire. And there's a little tab here, which I presume is the release for it. But again, I'm not going to force anything. There it is. Okay, good. Now, that means the old fuel pump is totally released and it's full of gas. I don't want to completely take it out yet because I'm kind of using it for reference. But I guess considering it's full of gas, I'm going to get it out of here and set it up where I said I was going to. So now this, I'm going to go in where that was. And the little O-ring looks good. We're going to reuse it. There we go. She went in. Okay. And make sure she's locked. Okay. She's in. And locked. Now, I'm going to untape that electrical wire. And we're going to put that back up there. You can see that, but I'm going to go right in there. Have it snap back in. Now for the fun part, getting this back in. So move positions a little bit here, get the advantage. All right, so back in. So if you see there's a notch, a tab on the new fuel pump, and then that aligns with the notch cut out in the base, and also that arrow aligns with what looks to be another arrow there. Although they have the fuel line cover on this side, where OEM is on this side, so hopefully that doesn't create an issue. So I'm going to get the nut, the plastic nut, back on here. I guess we'll put you back on dry pod. All right, so those wires out of the way. Make sure this is where it's supposed to be before I tighten it down. I just worry like it bounces up, but I guess it's supposed to. We'll know when we turn it on. I'm going to obviously put it all together, tighten it down, and then start her up and make sure everything's functioning right, including the gas gauge. And of course, you're putting this on, you don't want to cross thread it. And these wires want to keep getting in the way, but should start smooth. So I'm doing enough by hand, so it's not going to move out of place. And now I'm going to tighten it a little with the tool that we've got. Which really doesn't stay in place very well, but better than trying to do it by hand. It's better than hammering on this with a hammer and a screwdriver. Seems to be all she wants to do for the moment. Doesn't feel like that's enough, but I'm going to give her a test run, and we'll see. We'll see. I'm putting this on here because that's where the other one came from. However, that feels loose, and this one seems to be more geared for it. I don't know. But that would be opposite of what the OEM was, so yeah, so I'm going to start it and see what happens. Fingers crossed. I mean, it seems to be working. Okay, well, I've had it running for several minutes now. Everything looks to be okay. I guess the big test will be when I put more gas in it. I'm going to leave the seat off and that cover off, because when I put more gas in it, I want to make sure nothing is leaking, that O-ring is on properly. But my battery's almost dead, so I hope this was helpful. I will put links in the description down below for the products I bought to get this done. And please give me a like and subscribe. That would really help. Bye.